It is a beautiful fall morning on the Frugal Gardener's homestead. The leaves are turning. The long, hot summer has ended, and I am relieved. I'm relieved because I can finally garden the way that I intended to when I first came up here a year ago. And not only am I relieved, I'm happy. I'm happy because things are going actually better than expected. This is my first, my only tour that I'm going to do for the month of October. And with the exception of one problem area, my garden is looking good and I am very happy. This is the first stop on the tour. This is my mound built for me by the Frugal son-in-law. I struggled with this over the summer. I had sweet potatoes in here, did not do well. But if you look real close, you'll see that I have netting over here. That's why you see these hoops. This is all netted, and underneath this netting is primarily red Russian kale. There's a few other plants in here, but look at this kale. Look at this kale. I mean, it's growing pretty much everywhere that I plant the seeds. I expected it to grow. Well, actually, I overplanted, and it's going really well. So this I'll use in salads. You can use it in soups. You can also give it to the chickens. It's very nutritious. And we'll keep an eye on this. I have kale planted in a couple of areas. This is red Russian kale. And I just threw some seeds in here. I grew spinach in this area last year, but this is a little bit more kale. I have to water this, but this is also doing well. Now, I did say there was one area that I'm struggling with. I might as well get that out of the way. This is a 3-4. This is Tatso. This is Asian. In the center here are carrots. And on the end here is what's called green lettuce. Now, the reason why it's struggling is because I wanted to reuse these panels. These are polycarbonate panels, and I used them for the greenhouse at the old property, and I was trying to find a way to reuse them. So I am putting them up around here. I have these T-posts here, and I didn't have enough of them, but that's not the problem. I just picked up a few more, so this is my final project of the fall, other than just watching everything grow and tending to the garden. I had these panels put up around, completely around this whole area, but here's the sun. So when the sun rises, these panels are milky because they're old. They were actually blocking the sun. So this is the reason why you'll see certain areas where things were growing and where the seeds germinated, and certain areas where they didn't. So I'm going to take these older panels, put them over here, take the newer, clearer panels. I have quite a few. You can see these are easier to let the light through, and hopefully that will solve my problem. So from there, let's go over to something else that makes me happy. This is the newest piece of equipment to my garden. It's my little workbench here. Boom. I am really happy about this. Years ago, they had something called the Cabbage Patch Kids. Well, this is my Cabbage Patch. This is a raised bed, and over top of the raised bed is the greenhouse. This has been working out very well for me. It's a little dusty from the road and the fact that it hasn't been raining, but this comes down when the weather gets cold, and I can zip this baby up if I need to. but cabbage can take some cold, so I don't really have to concern myself with that right now. It's been in the upper 30s, low 40s at night, no problem at all. But look inside. You can look and you can see. I did starters for most of these. And I transferred them, and they almost all took. There is at least 15 heads of cabbage that I'm going to get from out of this one area. So, again, things are looking up. Things are going well. This is an actual greenhouse cloth. I bought this last year. I set this out so that it can get some rain and so that it can clear up from it being tucked away over the summer. And I will show you in a second where that's going to go this winter. But right now, I'm going to take you over to another successful area of the garden, and that is my new mini greenhouse. Again, it's kind of dusty up here because we haven't had any rain. There's a road behind me, and it's not paved, so this will go away. I mean, I can wipe it off or just wait until it rains. It's not looking like there's much activity going on in here right now, and it's because of the weather. It's been too hot. This thing does very well. This is my monitor. This actually monitors how hot it is inside there, and my little meter that I can read the temperature off is inside the house. The problem, I guess it's a good problem to have, is it's been going up to 110, 115, 120 degrees in here during the day, and that's a no-no. So what I'm going to show you is what I had to take out because there was just too hot. Let's start over here. These are obviously window boxes, and pretty much everything in here is red Russian kale. This is the same as what you saw over in the beginning, but you clip these off and they'll grow back. This one is actually for the chickens, and these two are for the family. So you can see where they're starting to get big enough, and you can see the red tips there. And I'll be able to put these in soups and salads pretty soon. This you've seen before, not much different here. This is my lavender project. I call it a project because my thought process is to grow enough lavender and strategically place it around the plants to keep the deer and the bugs, and not the bugs, but the deer and the other animals away during the summer. And a lot of these are doing well. A couple of these didn't make it, like this one here, but these are doing okay. These are going to go dormant in the winter. Next week is the last week of October. I believe week and a half from now we'll be into November. The holidays for those of you who are in the U.S. I'm fortunate enough to have viewers in the U.S., in the U.K., India. Not sure what holidays you celebrate over in India, but these will be dormant for the winter, and they'll come back in the spring. But switching back over to here, this is Jamaican sorrel in a container, in a pot. I did not get any buds off of this so far. This is my first year growing this, so I might have to revisit and figure out what I need to do in order to get that to give me what I want. This is dinosaur kale I just planted. Eucalyptus I just planted, because ordinarily I would not plant these in October, but these are going to go in here. So you get the picture. Moving on down the line, these are black-eyed peas, and peas, just regular green peas that are finally getting tall enough that they can start growing up this trellis here. Also in here. These are mustard greens in here. This whole area gets covered every night by this cloth. This is not a frost cloth. This is just a barrier. It's a net, if you will, to keep the deer out. There's lots of deer up here. And down this end, I have broccoli starting to come in. I have to plant this guy here, but this is starting to come in just now. These are carrots that I recently planted, and this is my pride and joy. This is what I tried and failed to do over the summer because it was so much heat, because it was so hot. But let me give you a better look. These are my Georgia collard greens, and every single one. One has two, some have one, some have two, some have several. I may have to take one of these out and some of these because there's it's going to be overcrowded, but the sun is starting to wilt these a little bit. But these are doing extremely well. I have no complaints, and this is something that I am really looking forward to Harvest Day on. There are 14 of these crates. Every crate has germination. So again, you know, I'm happy with that. Here are a couple of the other containers that should be in here, but again, it's too hot. So more carrots that I'm starting to grow. You can see one little one coming up here and another one coming up here. Same way with the spinach. Takes a long time for spinach to germinate, in my opinion, but here we are. You can grow these things in the fall, in the winter, and if it doesn't get too cold, and it's very healthy for you, very easy to grow. Here's more carrots that actually are coming up. More spinach, because I grow more than one. This is it's nice, but if you're going to just do one, boom, after a while you're going to be out pretty quickly. This is an example of that. We have been eating off of this for a while, which is the reason why it's starting to look a little shabby. This is an example of what you can do growing in a small container. This is lettuce. This is bok choy. Here's the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but some of these are wilting and going bad. New ones are coming up. So there's your bok choy. There's the lettuce. Over here are a couple of dwarf trees that I have. I've shown you guys these before, so I won't spend a lot of time on it. Black-eyed peas that I planted. Some people call these cow peas. And another successful planting. This is my first time growing watercress. It needs to stay moist. It's the opposite of most of what I grow, that if you get it too wet, you'll get root rot and it'll die on you. This is sitting in water where I punctured several holes in this, and you can see this is actually doing better than this, even though they were planted around the same time, because this has a constant supply of water. This I've been watering off and on. You get the picture once again. Cilantro, broccoli. I have a couple of things going on up here. This is kind of the last of my starters. This is, I wanted to see if I could grow sage in a container. I was successful with that. This is Brussels sprouts that I'm just starting up and moving on. Almost done. I told you guys, there's a lot going on. This is kind of redemption for me. Things did not work out the way that I had expected them to originally. last year, and this year is so much different. This, if you look closely, you'll see these are onions and elephant garlic. I planted them along here, started here, and come on down the line. I guess these are larger because there's more sun. You can tell the difference between the garlic and the onions. These will go dormant during the winter, and they'll come up in the spring, and I'll have onions and garlic. This is my original raised bed, built by the Frugal family, and in here it's supposed to just be carrots, but I can see some of the other leafy greens that I planted in here are coming back up, like here, which is fine, also here. But this is going to be predominantly carrots, and I planted carrots in here last fall. They were harvested in the middle of winter, and then I grew potatoes in here during the summer, and I will be harvesting from here probably around the end of the year, and then I'm going to let this area rest. So up across here is basically going to just take us full circle back over to the end. I did tell you guys that I was going to explain to you about this plastic cloth, and it's well, I'm saying cloth, it's really greenhouse material. It's 8-ply. They come in different thicknesses, but this is going to go over here. If we get cold weather before harvest, these are some of the wildflowers that I grew over the summer, the ones that weren't hammered by the excessive heat. I'll try again next year. I'll plant this area out again and see what happens. But I expect that I will be harvesting these collard greens before the end of the year. We usually don't get the real cold weather until around January, February. I am in West Virginia. That's zone 7A. So this will suffice. I do have a frost cloth that I haven't even had to open yet. So if it starts to get cold, I'll replace this with the frost cloth. And if it gets really cold, I'll replace the frost cloth, try saying that 3 times fast, with this over here. And this will definitely do the job. So there you have it. This is my October tour, and there are a couple of things that are going to be ready for harvest pretty soon. These are peppers, which I'm going to try to overwinter this. I'm not going to get anything out of that this year. But if you look at these potatoes, you'll see 817, which means in a couple of weeks, these are going to be ready for harvest. So I'm going to rearrange these barriers underneath here, and when the weather gets a little bit colder, a lot of what I showed you from this area here is going to go in here. So that's going to be it. That is my tour for now. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe, because this is the beginning. This is not, as a lot of gardeners do, it's not a time where I pack up and close everything out until spring. I'm kind of just getting started. I'm going to be here all winter. I'm always here all winter. I'm a garden year round. I have time to do it. I enjoy doing it. And in the event that something goes wrong, if we have another pandemic, if things don't go well, I will be able to have additional food for my family and myself. That's it for now.